Good morning, class. How are you today? Okay, that's good to hear. So, before we start, may I request everyone to all stand? And Miss Aliuna, please lead the prayer. Okay, so before anything else, please pick up the pieces of paper under your seats and kindly arrange your chairs and sit down properly. And now I will be checking your attendance and say present if your name is called. Adaya, Asis, Banyes, Imas. Okay, very good class. No one's absent for today's attendance. Before we proceed to our new topic for today's discussions, let's have first a game. And I have here a set of jumble words, and all you need to do is to arrange the letters of the correct answers. So who wants to answer or to participate the game? Okay, number 1, bituon. Number 2, kabale. Number 3, ibero. Number 4, parilya. Number 5, putot. Okay, now let's check your answer. Okay, number 1, correct. It's process. Number 2, correct. It's communication. Number 3, correct. It's curriculum. Number 4, correct. It's principles. Number 5, correct. It's classroom. Okay, very good class. All your answers are correct. Before we proceed to our new topic for today's discussion, let's have first a review. So, who can recall what was our previous topic? Okay, Miss Imas. Okay, thank you, Miss Imas. Before we proceed to our new discussion, I have here a short activity. The title is Guess Me or Guess the Picture. So, you need to give the correct answer according what the picture shows. So, okay, who wants to answer? Okay, Constantino, Mahusay, Ulidan, Antan. Okay, let's start. Okay, the first picture shows communication. Okay, correct. And the second picture shows a classroom. Okay, correct. And the third picture shows, okay, correct. It's process. And the fourth picture shows, okay, correct. It's teaching. So now, let's define what is communication process inside the classroom. Okay, in addition, communication process inside a classroom involves the teachers including information into a message, which is then transmitted through verbal and non-verbal cues to the students. The students receive the decode and message and then provide a feedback to the teachers to ensure their understanding. So effective communication is essential for success learning outcomes. So, our topic for today's discussion is all about the communication process inside the classroom, and there are 5 principles including in the communication process. and I will be discussing it one by one. So again, let's start. So in principle 1, no instruction can occur without communication, and effective communication appears to result in effective instruction. True effective communication is not guaranteed that as one has learned. So the meaning of this states that communication is an essential instruction to occur, but not just communication effectively doesn't necessarily mean that learning has taken place. So, for instruction to occur there must be some communication between the teacher or instructor and the learner. So this can take many forms such as spoken or written language, gestures, or visual aids. So effective communication means that the message being conveyed is understood by the learner, but this doesn't necessarily mean that they have learned the material. The material learning requires the learner to internalize and apply information they have received. So example, a teacher presents a lesson on a new math concept using visual aids and clear explanation. The students seem to understand the concept during the lesson, but when he gave a quiz on the material and the next day, many of them struggle to apply what they have learned. So, this demonstrates that effective communication doesn't always lead to learning. So, that's the explanation of the principle 1. Okay, let's proceed to the principle 2. So, principle 2 is a classroom groups are highly peculiar since membership is voluntary. The group member do not decide on who can be member, and many subgroups appear with classrooms members are subjects to individual differences and the teachers ask listener and speaker. So, principle 2 means it refers to the unique nature of classroom groups where membership is typically determined by factors outside the group's control, such as course requirements or scheduling. So, this can lead to a diverse range of individuals with varying backgrounds, interests, and levels of engagements. So, due to the voluntary nature of membership, subgroups may also form within the larger classroom group based on shared interests or personalities. So these subgroups can influence the dynamic of the larger groups and may impact the discussion or activities unfold. So in this setting, the teachers typically acts as both listener and speaker, providing guidance and support while also facilitating the discussion and activities. So for example of principle 2, in college course with required group work, students may be placed into groups based on their schedules and availability. Within each group, individuals may form subgroups based on shared interests and personalities, and which may impact the way larger group works together. So the teachers would act a facilitator or guiding the group work and helping to resolve any conflicts that may arise. So that is the principle 2 mean. Okay, now let's proceed to the principle 3. So principle 3, classroom can either manifest the banking system of education or the problem solving or dialogic system. So principle 3 means that it refers to the idea that a classroom can either function as a banking system of education where knowledge is deposited into the student's mind without any active engagement on their part, or as a problem solving or dialogic system where the students active participate in the learning process and engage with student material. So, an example of a banking system of education is a lecture style class where the teacher simply presents information to students without any opportunity for discussion or explorations. On the other hand, a problem solving or dialogic system might look like a class where students are encouraged to collaborate, ask questions, and engage with the material through hands-on activities or group discussions. So in this type of classroom, the teachers acts more a facilitator than, than a lecturer or guiding students to discover knowledge and build critical thinking skills. So that is the principle 3 means. And now let's proceed to the principle 4. So principle 4, there are 5 important functions of communication and which is informing, controlling, expressing, expressing feelings, ritualizing, and imagining. So in principle 4, it highlights to give the 5 important functions of communication. So the first one is informing. So informing communication is used to convey information, facts, and knowledge. For example, a teacher may inform students about new lesson, or a news anchor may inform viewers about current events. And number 2 is controlling. So controlling communication can be used to influence or control the behavior of others. For example, a manager may use communication to direct employees to complete a task, or a parent may use communication to discipline a child. So number 3, expressing feelings. So expressing feelings, communication is often used to express emotions, opinions, and attitudes. For example, a friend may communicate their feelings of happiness or sadness, or a politician may express their opinion on a particular issue. So number 4 is ritualizing. So it is a communication is used to establish and maintain social relationships and to create a sense of community. For example, people may communicate during religious ceremonies and cultural events. So that is the ritualizing. And now let's proceed to the number 5, which is the imagining. So imagining communication can be used to create a new ideas and possibilities. For example, brainstorming session and among colleagues or friends can lead to new and innovative ideas. So overall, these 5 functions of communication play an important roles in our daily lives, and understanding them can help us to communication more effectively in a various situation. So that is the principle 4, the 5 important function of communications. So now let's proceed to the last principle, which is the principle 5. So principle 5, communication ability is one of a holistic process of communication. Communication competence about language and its use. So principle 5 means that communication ability is a holistic process that involves multiple aspects of communication competence, including language and its use. So, communication ability involves more than just knowing the rules of language. It is also requires an understanding of how to use language effectively in different contexts, and this includes skills such as understanding nonverbal communication and adapting communication style to different audiences, and being able to listen actively and respond appropriately. All of these aspects of communication competence work together to create an effective communication inside the classroom. So, example of this, a student is giving a participation in a class and demonstrate communications ability by using language effectively to convey their message, using appropriate visual aids, and adapting their communication style to engage the audience. So that is the meaning of the principle 5. And now we are done discussing the 5 principles of the communication process inside the classroom. And I hope you learned something about the discussions. May I request everyone to get one half sheet of paper. I have a short quiz. According to the discussion, the process communication or the communication process inside the classroom. Again, principle 1. No instruction can occur without communication, and effective communication appears to result in effective instruction. True effective communication is not guaranteed that one has learned. And principle 2. Classroom groups are highly peculiar since membership is voluntary. The group member do not decide on who can be member. And many subgroups appears with the classroom members are subject to individual differences, and teachers act the listener and the speaker. And the principle 3, classroom can either manifest the banking system of education or the problem solving or the dialogic system. And the principle 4, 5 important functions of communication are informing, controlling, expressing feelings, ritualizing, and imagining. And so, the last principle, which is the principle 5, communication ability is one of the holistic process of communication competence about language and its use. So, again, that's the end of our discussion for today, and I will call someone in the class. Okay, Mr. Carcajente. What is communication process inside the classroom? Okay, thank you, Mr. Carcajente. Yes, communication process refers to the exchange of information between the teachers and the students. And it's about sharing ideas or information inside the classroom. So, again, that's the end of our discussion for today, and thank you for listening. And then for your assignment, create an essay about the 5 principles in the communication process inside the classroom, and search about what is the Pygmalion effects. And that will be all. Thank you.